Hello, and welcome to Silicon Valley Girls Chat Over Tea. I'm Gloria,
And I'm Rosetta.
and in the spirit of kindness and compassion, we want you to always lead with love. If you lead with love, everything will be okay.
Yes, my love.
Yes, that's so true.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today for another great one. And we want to start by doing our usual. Please consider hitting that thumb icon. Subscribe to our channel. We'd love for you to subscribe and hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our talks. And as you know, we're going to talk about what teas we're drinking today. And today we continue our series with the Hyleys organic green tea. This is week number 3.
Yes.
And as you know, or if you don't know, there's 7 assorted flavors in here. And today we're drinking the Moroccan tea. And the Moroccan tea, let's see.
Moroccan mint.
Moroccan mint. Moroccan mint tea we're drinking. Has organic green tea leaves, organic mint leaves, and natural mint flavor.
Yes.
All right. And we've had it seeping for a little bit, so we're going to try it out. Did you want to say something?
Oh, I just read the part where it says seep 5 to 8 minutes. So this is one of those where it's going to get better as it goes along.
Well, while it's seeping, we'll try it later on, but we're going to read the little saying on the what is it called? The attached string.
Because we love the fact that it has little messages.
Yep.
So my message is, you miss 100% of the shots you do not take.
It is 100%. I love that. It's not
10%.
It's 100%. 100%. And I 100% agree.
Yes, I 100% too. Because if you don't take your shot,
you missed it.
Yes.
Completely.
Yes.
My one says, there are no shortcuts to any place worth going. There you go.
Yeah. See, now that one, my brain said, well, now that all depends. Because if I know a shortcut which will get me there faster, maybe. What do you think? Do you just stay the course? Or do, if you're like, if I can, say there's a path and I know it's always the same, and then I hear on the radio my path has an accident, I would defer.
And also in business,
yes.
The same thing.
Yes.
Have you heard the phrase, work smarter, not harder?
Yes.
So if there's a shortcut that's a smarter way, I'm going to do it.
Absolutely.
Wasting my time on stuff.
I know. Time is so valuable, which we all should have learned that lesson with everything that's going on in the world.
Yep.
So our thoughts and prayers always go out to the human race. We're constantly, looking and trying to find ways to share information to help people live better quality of lives, because we have to get back to love and compassion. Everyone should think, as they go out and engage in the world, what's going on? Why are people acting the way they're acting? Because they're in my ear, my brain just said, because they're off the rail. And so we always want to lead with love and compassion.
Yes,
always.
we do. And kindness.
Yes, kindness. So we wanted to acknowledge one of the things that we as people do. Something is a catastrophe on Monday, and by Wednesday we forget it. So we're making a conscious effort not to forget Turkey and Syria. That earthquake was massive. And I know you're not going to believe this, where we thought there'd be about 25 loss of lives, maybe 100. They just hit 55,700. That's 48,400 in Turkey and 7,200 in Syria. And the numbers are not done, because they have gone from rescue to recovery. So please keep the families of those 2 countries in your thoughts and prayers, because it has to be horrific every day to get new numbers every day.
I know, and I bet you a lot of people have not even been recovered.
Right.
That you're just not going to find them. It's just too hard.
Right.
It really is. So keep them in your prayers.
Yes. Let's talk a little bit about entertainment. American Idol.
American
What are you thinking?
Idol. Well, I'm really liking Katy Perry because since she's become a mother,
Yeah.
she's become a bit more, she's softened a bit.
Yeah.
And she really, she actually coaches some of the singers that are auditioning like she's their mother, and she really wants to see them go really far.
Yeah, she'll tell them to slow down,
Yep.
take a deep breath. Okay, yeah, you're coming to your moment. I'm like, wow, she's very engaging.
And when they're
this
singing,
season.
have you noticed she'll be like, "Come on now,
Yeah,
yeah, you can do it, you can do it."
Yes.
So I love that aspect of her. I do really like, not all of them, but there are some few standout key contestants that have been coming through, and I just can't wait to see where it goes.
Right.
I think from the original, like when Simon Cowell was doing it, and Paula Abdul and Randy Jackson, the format has changed quite a bit. A lot. But what I really like is the group ones.
Yes.
The group ones out of American Idol, and when they go to Hawaii, they do their final one.
Yes.
So that's what I'm looking forward to. I don't know how many more, but the last time they were in Vegas.
Yes.
What I recall.
Yes.
And I'm trying to remember who I like, but it's all a blur because there's another singing show called The Voice, and I'm getting a bit confused.
Well, there's like you said, I like the energy with the judges. I think that Luke and Lionel and Katie have been together long enough now where they almost finish each other's sentence.
Right.
So that part I like. And the one moment that that stood out for me recently, there was a young girl. Her name was Anara Valerie, and she was talking about how she had been given the opportunity to sing at the graduation, and this was the junior graduation.
Oh, that's right.
And she's standing there and she's singing, and this girl walks up to her and says, "Oh, this is my moment, my time," and takes the microphone.
Because it was her year for graduation, right?
And so it's like if she didn't sing then, she would never get the chance to sing. And so, she called it Kanye. She goes, "I got Kanye." And I thought that was just so cute. And unfortunately, though, not only did she Kanye her and take it over, the next year we were in COVID, so they didn't do in person. So she never got to
sing her own graduation.
Yeah. So Katie said, "Well, you gonna sing tonight." And this was again when Katie starts saying, "Okay, come on." They're standing up, they're cheering her on. And initially I thought, oh my God, because she was a little raspy.
Yes.
Oh no.
Yes.
And with them raising her interest and telling her, "Oh, we got you. Oh, we hear you. We love you." She really sang well, and she got to go forward.
She did. So I'm looking forward to see where the road will take her.
Yes. And, like we can just kind of segue into the second musical competition, The Voice. And initially, like we shared last week, we didn't know what the ambiance between the new coaches was going to feel like as they started doing the blind auditions and all of that. Now, the first one that we shared with you, we thought, they were antics, let's get Blake, they blocked him. They, Niall turned the chairs all around so he could talk to a contestant. And then Chance danced on their names and changed everything to say Chance.
Yes.
So I wanted to see how things were going to kind of rock out. So I think because Blake is the most winningest coach in voice history, there are people who are coming up now and they're all doing all their gig, and the people are like, Blake, because he's the winningest coach. He's been getting a lot of people. I liked Sheer Element. That was the group, and they did the song Silk Sonic, which is Bruno Mars and his band. And I love that they did that song, Leave the Door Open.
That was great. Who did they choose as their judge, as the team?
The team went with, let's see,
Kelly. Went with Kelly. Yes. Because the reason why I forget, because I really wanted them to go with Chance the Rapper. Yes. Because he knew what he could do with them and where he could take them. Yes. And they just went with Kelly. I thought that was a shock. I thought that was to me, I wanted them to go with Chance.
It was a little shocking too, because like you, I was like, Chance probably knows Bruno Mars. He could probably get you a face to face, but
Right.
for whatever reason. And then Chance got the young man Novus.
Yeah, he got some really
and
good. Yes.
Singing "A Change Is Gonna Come." That's one of my favorite songs, and I really, really love it when the person can sing the song.
Yep.
So I like that one. Niall, he was just over the moon when he got the 15-year-old.
Yes, Riley Tate Wilson. That's the one highlight I was going to say. My son, even before I watched, my son goes, he was really good. He texted me.
That's how you know that they're really good.
He's pretty good for 15-year-old and 4-chair turn.
Yes.
And I think that, you see, Niall got him. Niall and Chance are doing really well
they really
with the contestants they're getting.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very excited to see where both Chance and Niall, where they take these contestants.
Their talents. I mean, can they bring out of them whatever it is that they hear, whatever genre that they think they would be good in, what is that going to be like? So, and then Blake, I liked his young girl, Mary Kate Connor. She was only 17, and she sang the song Stars. I mean, and it was so funny because once again, it was Kelly versus Blake, and Kelly was like, she was selling it, I can do this for you, I can do that for you.
Yes.
And then Blake was like, come on now, who do you want? Him and that finger. And of course she goes, I check Blake.
It's such a surprise when people choose Blake. You would never ever think that they would go for Blake. And you think for sure, Chance or Kelly or Niall. But all of a sudden they go, I choose Blake. We're like, what?
Yes, not so much. So, did you watch the Oscars? What did you think?
God, the
Oscars.
Oscars.
Were excited? Were you disappointed? Comment below. Listen to our feedback and our interpretations. However, comment below.
Yeah.
So where shall we start?
Where shall we start? Well, we will start by Jimmy Kimmel, who hosted it, and how well he did.
Yes.
He was pretty amazing, and again, 1 year ago, it was the big slap.
Yes, and how he dealt with the slap.
Yes. So he had to bring that up again.
Absolutely. But I love the fact that he said, if you think you're going to come up here and slap me, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And I love that. And Guillermo was in the audience, and he showed, because he's always at his show. He showed him there, and he puts his little,
He's so cute. When he first
cute.
says Guillermo, they bring the cameras to Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah,
he goes, not Guillermo, the other Guillermo. And he's so cute. He really is cute, Guillermo.
Yes.
Yes.
So that was really good that they talked about it. And because there was you could just feel the anticipation, how they're going to deal with it. Because you couldn't ignore it.
Right.
You couldn't ignore it. How are they going to
I could only imagine how how Will Smith and his wife watching it, if they were watching it, what their thoughts were. I could only imagine.
Yeah, they probably didn't. Unfortunately, they are kind of coming across as in the, that didn't have nothing to do with me thing. I think if Will, and I still believe, if he had just come out, related to what Chris said in his, stand up. If he had just come up man to man, even after they came back from commercial, if he had just said, they could have recorded it. And he got up and said, I don't know what's wrong. I apologize. I'm going to leave the stage or something.
Right. I wish he had, but he did. Hindsight, looking back, it's like he didn't do it, but this is what happened and played out.
Yeah.
So he did a really good job.
Yes.
And I want to talk about, which celebrity did you like the dresses and the way they dressed?
Of course, my girl Angela Bassett in that purple. Now you should have known. I was just
I was thinking of you when she came. I'm like, oh my God, that is elegance plus royalty plus spectacular plus amazing, all rolled into one.
All rolled into one.
Well, Angela knows how to dress. Yes. She always comes out bringing it.
And I loved what Jamie Lee Curtis had on, because as a woman in the 60s, the age 60s, not 1960, She looked beautiful. I mean, it showed her
It looked
sexy,
like she
curvy
had
body.
some kind of corset to it. It was
Yeah, it
fitted
was
like the bones in the corset.
yes, but
And
then it had the little
yes,
gathering on the
yes,
hip, which gave her a
yes,
little bit more
yes.
swag. So I really liked that. Um, I can't think of her name now, but there was the woman that had the shorts on with all the material. She looked like she took her comforter.
The shorts on, was it
The
the
black- little black
interviewing lady?
Oh no! She was actually
with the
a person.
shorts. Oh, I don't
Yeah, they were
remember who that
black
was.
shorts,
Yeah, I don't
and she
remember.
had like gathering material with a long trail.
Yeah, I don't
behind.
remember who that was.
I liked Halle Berry's dress. I didn't like Halle's hair.
Oh, I
think
thought that was weird. It was like kind of like
it
curled
covered
here,
one eye,
but it looked a mess. The curl. They
Yeah.
didn't like
well, it
make
was
it
raining.
look subtle.
Yeah,
They could have fixed it when she got
went
to the
inside,
venue.
Yeah,
They should have fixed it because it looked like it had kind of like just destroyed itself along
yeah.
the way.
And I think she looks very, very cute when she has very little hair. I think she looks
Yes.
so beautiful.
Yes, she does.
But, however, I did like the dress. And who else? Oh, I loved. Well, Lenny Kravitz didn't look like he had on no tux or whatever,
No.
you know. Jonathan Majors, he had on his tux was very different, and they said it was because he wanted to symbolize the time back with pre-emancipation and all of that.
Right.
So I was like, but the Asian gentleman with the white with the blue sash, I love that.
Who was that?
He was a presenter. He's an actor. I can't think of his name now, but
yeah.
I just like the fact that it wasn't, everybody was just black tux, white shirts, boring. And he had on his suit, and he had this beautiful navy sash,
Oh, okay,
and then,
yeah.
of course, Michelle Yeoh,
She looked great.
She looked great. I mean, I think the fashions were, considering it was raining,
Yeah.
I think the fashions were really
What about
good.
Janelle Monáe? What did you think of
Yes.
her little corset, the black on top, and then
Yes.
and then there was like gaping, and then she had this skirt on. What did you
Yeah.
think of that?
I number one, I thought it was very different. She always wears things that are kind of out of the box. So I liked it. I just thought at a certain point, I was like, what's up with that? And just about the time I was into that, I saw Lady Gaga, and I thought, lady in the front, party in the back. That cut in the back was
All the way scooped.
all the way
down,
scooped.
yeah.
And luckily they never turned her around. I'm sure they had it appropriate, but I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That was very different.
It was very different, but it wasn't as out there as she normally has it. It was
wasn't
kind
like
of
a
more
meat
subdued.
dress.
Right. Yeah.
So that part was really
And I
good.
really liked the other actress I loved was Salma Hayek's dress. The
Yes.
shimmery, I don't even know what that color is called, but it was
What is-
shimmery, shiny, glossy.
I think she said something like, I'm a disco ball dress
yeah,
or something
she
like
always brings it
Yes.
every time that she comes to the Oscars.
that.
And
Yes.
she's a little petite, and she's like keeps it,
And I
elegant.
can't think of the girl. She is the one. She is co-writing Reese Witherspoon's next movie of when she's the girl that she's supposed to be dingy, and then she ends up going to law school and she gets her law degree.
Yeah, I don't remember who that was.
But
Okay.
she had on all white, and then inside she had the same dress in black.
Oh,
and it had the
yeah,
openings
okay.
out,
I didn't
and
really
the-
pay attention to
Yeah,
that.
that was pretty too.
Well, how about that lady who co-wrote Lift Me Up with Rihanna?
Yeah,
She came in like a cloud.
yeah,
I couldn't get my eyes off that. I thought that was kind of inconsiderate of her
right.
to be dressing up with this. I'm like,
Well, the people behind her could not see. you
yeah,
know?
I could see because I looked at one news article and they showed a clip on TikTok or something, and the lady behind was like this.
Yeah, it's okay to have something like that on the red carpet or, the champagne carpet. However, when you go inside, lay it down. That's like the lady that she had her hair up. It was
Yeah.
like really high. And, Sherry Shepherd has said something about our queens need to understand, tone it down.
Tone it down. But that was,
Yes.
yeah, but it was a good
Yes,
one for fashion.
and one last person before we get off of fashion. Oh my God, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson looked amazing in that blush tux.
Was it blush? I thought it was salmon, but anyway.
Yeah, well,
it's
that's
blush.
the term they
Okay,
used
they use
on
blush.
on
Okay.
yeah, because I thought it was like you said, it was salmon or it was like peachy orange, but it was just, and with the fact that his goatee has more silver now, he looked amazing.
It looked good because at first, if you just look at his top half, he has the black bow tie. It doesn't
Right.
really match,
Right,
but with
when
the
you
whole
pan the
ensemble
whole,
and he has the black pants, it goes
yeah,
quite well. And he stood out and he was amazing.
yes. So let's quickly hit the winners.
The winners.
Jamie Lee Curtis finally won an Oscar as Best Supporting Actress. I was a little sad for Angela because the camera, see, those squares are deadly. You have to go and
She
keep
did
it.
something. I don't know
Yeah.
how. She had some expression when she found out.
Well, it was like, what the hell expression, because she was the front leader, the front runner, and everybody kept saying, how does it feel to be the front runner? So now you know how it feels. They pump you up, you're going to win, you're going to win, you're going to win, and then you don't win. You know, same thing with the young man who played Elvis. You're the front runner, you're the front runner, you're going to win.
Yeah, and then he lost
And then,
against Brandon Fraser.
Yes, and I mean, Brandon Fraser, when I saw him in The Whale, I haven't seen the movie, I just saw him, his portrayal with all the prosthetics, and I'm like, oh my God.
It was amazing. I had watched it right the night before
Okay.
the Oscars because I wonder what it's about, and I completely love it. It's
Good.
so many layers, so
Yeah.
deep, and I'm so glad they won for
Yes.
those awards they won. Yeah.
Yes. And then Michelle Yeoh, very first
Yeah.
Asian woman to win an Oscar.
Trailblazer for the Asian
Yes.
community, and it's
And-
only
and
taken 60 years.
And I love how she said, women, don't let anyone tell you you've reached your peak. You know, I love how she talked to her community and she told them that this is a beacon of hope. This is a beacon that you can also do this. I love how they cut away and showed her 82-year-old mom.
Yeah.
And how her mom was just, you know, and she stood up by herself. And I'm like, see, that's a healthy family. So
Yes.
congratulations.
Yes.
I love that. And I know you're filming Crazy Rich Asian too. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
I'm looking forward to that.
And then Ki Hu Kwan won for Best Supporting Actor.
I love that.
Yes.
That's long time coming.
From the age, first movie he was in, he was 12 to now he's 52.
And then he was given the award at the end by Harrison Ford, and
the
they
movie
hugged.
itself.
The movie, yes.
And he hugged Harrison and he kissed him.
Oh my God,
You
that
know?
must have been a moment. Can
Oh,
you
yeah.
believe that?
Yes, to see someone start out as a child working with you and now to see him as a grown man. So that part was really good. I thought it was just
It's kind of
spectacular.
chilling.
Yeah,
Puts chills in you.
yeah. Okay.
And
Anyone
then
else?
anyone else? No, I just wanted to say that I was surprised by All Quiet on the Western Front
Yeah.
because that won 4 Oscars and more
In the
nominations.
British, right?
Yes, that was the. I thought that was German. Was it German?
The movie itself?
Yeah, I thought it was in German. Also, I can't
Yeah.
see. I didn't pay attention. I had
Well,
never
it's a
heard
war
of this.
movie, so I really
I had never
don't-
heard of this movie
until the British
yes,
awards.
Yes.
I hadn't, and then
Yes.
and it swept the British awards. Just all
So
of them.
so I might have to go and watch that. And then we have Black Panther
Yes.
that won for, what did they win for? I have it here. Black Panther. I don't know, what did they win for? They won for did they win for costume? I
I
think
think it was it was costume.
it was costume. I have it written down somewhere.
Yeah.
Then we have Everything
Everywhere, all at once.
at once won 7.
Out of 11 they were nominated for, they won 7.
And Avatar won for visual effects. I'm
Yes.
surprised that they didn't win for more.
A lot of people were surprised they didn't win for more because that movie was spectacular. I mean, not just visually beautiful, but heartfelt beautiful too.
It was really, really great, and I loved it. And yeah, that was the Oscars. It was dominated by just a few movies, and yeah, I'm surprised. Even Top Gun, which
Yes.
was the first movie to come out when everybody started going back to the movie
Right.
theaters.
Well, they won something. I can't remember what Maverick won
I can't
for.
remember. They won for what
But
did they win
you
for?
know, because they were
Something, yeah.
saying, you know, is Tom going to be there to accept the award? And you know, they thought he was going to come on stage.
I
but-
don't think he would have come because
No.
it was too small of a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and there's a lot of people, and
Well,
he's
comment below who you
yeah,
liked. We'd
yes,
love to know what your thoughts were and who your front
yeah,
runners were for best dressed male, best dressed female.
female,
We'd love to
yes,
hear that. Keep the conversation going.
absolutely. So you would have to be a rock not to know the name Silicon Valley Bank. Prior to last Friday, I had never heard of it.
Me either.
Didn't know anything about it. And then all of a sudden we hear that the government has shut it down, and it had, because people were trying to get funds out.
Right, right.
And I've always been the person, I know that there's a $250,000 max on a bank, and that's why a lot of people put their money into, Switzerland, or Germany, or any place where they will, federally based on their government, guarantee your funds for the total amount. So that was pretty shocking that all of a sudden this is something that a lot of businesses, specifically small businesses, use because they give incentives to businesses.
Yeah, I had no clue, so I wanted to do some research as to the backstory of this Silicon Valley business. And this is what I found out. They've been around for 4 decades.
Wow.
4 decades, people.
Wow.
They provided banking services for tech startups in the Silicon Valley. Well, that's a bit obvious in Silicon Valley.
Right.
In 1987, they began trading on the NASDAQ. They expanded Silicon Valley into the Silicon Valley and the Bay Area, and then to the East Coast in 1990 with an office in Massachusetts. In the 90s, offices expanded across the US. 2008, there was an office open in Israel.
Wow.
Did not know that. So Silicon Valley went to Israel.
Wow.
And then they branched out into UK, Europe, and Canada in 2012.
Wow.
So this is a small little bank, and I had no clue it existed. And now we're seeing it's worldwide.
It's everywhere.
And they're among the top 20 largest banks in the country.
Yes.
And then what they specialized in was very unique. They specialized in startup companies. Because we're Silicon Valley, we have a lot of startup companies. But what was different about them was the reason why a lot of banks, if you try and apply for a loan, they don't let you do it because you have no history, you have not made any money.
Right.
These are startup companies. So they did something very unusual, and they actually gave lines of credit to these startup companies, unlike other banks who wouldn't.
Right.
And then they built relationships with the venture capitalist community, and 90% of accounts had more than $50,000 in deposits. So how did this come about? Real quick, I want to be really quick about this. It started during the pandemic. All this happened, that deposits skyrocketed, and that there was a problem because extra billions they invested in treasury bonds, long-term maturities.
Right.
So it takes a long time for that investment to mature and make some profit. And then the Federal Reserve raised interest rates, which in
that's
turn...
what started this whole spiral situation.
Yes. So federal rates raised their interest rates, which in turn hurt value of the government bonds. And then when tech centers struggling more, they started taking out all their deposits.
Right, because they were concerned.
Right. And then last week, it forced them to sell part of its bonds holdings at a loss of $1.8 billion.
Right.
The federal regulators last week they took over the control of the bank last Friday.
Right. And President Biden came on the air to let us all know not to panic, not to worry, everything was going to be okay. And the people in charge of SVB were going to be fired. He didn't say we're going to check into it. He's like, they're going to be fired.
Yeah. So there you have it. In summary, this is what it is. And if you want to do some more, research yourself, you can. Comment below.
Yes.
If you know of anything else or want to continue this conversation, we'd love to hear from you.
Because we know that there's also another bank called Signature Bank that just came up, yesterday. So now we're like, wait a minute. How many are of these? Because the thing that the president is trying to make sure is that people don't start hoarding money. There's also going to be an investigation to determine because the executives of SVB sold stock and took millions of dollars
right
out
before
right
this all
before
happened.
all this fell
Yes.
apart. Now, say for example, this was a normal process. Every 6 months, this is what they do. No harm, no foul. If they find out that they saw this coming and they're like, well, let's take our money out first while we can, they're going to be in trouble with the government.
Well, they are going to be in trouble because it may be not the core, but there's a correlation between that, right?
Yeah, it's just too
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
So as we hear more, we will let you know. And now we're going to just briefly do our
I completely
tea.
forgot about our teas.
No,
We're
I didn't
We're
forget.
chit-chatting. I forgot. Yes,
always like
yes.
to
We like to
wake it
smell it
up.
before and then we'll, dunk it in. Let's smell it again.
Hmm.
Okay, I don't really smell much,
Yeah,
but
not
we'll
much.
try it.
Yeah.
Oh, cheers.
Cheers.
It's very, very subtle. I don't taste much mint.
I don't taste much mint either. I taste more of
Is
a Moroccan flavor.
Yeah, more earthy. That's what
Very
I taste.
earthy.
I don't taste, the mint has to be a bit more prevalent.
Okay. So now we're going to talk a little bit about GPT-AI.
GPT-AI, have you heard of it, everyone? Well, you're going to hear about it now.
Yes.
But you should have heard about it because it's been the talk of the town lately in a lot of different circles. And GPT-AI is an AI app that came out from a company called OpenAI. And what it does is, it is a site you can go on where it's like an AI. So you know what AI is, artificial intelligence. And what it does is, it actually responds with your commands.
Right.
So what it's been famous for is writing different papers.
Yes.
For people like college students and people that want thesis and stuff. So you can actually go into this app and say, I would like to write a thesis or a paper on this particular subject. I'd like you to include some phrases or some things said by famous people, and please could you make sure you give it different criteria what you want, and you can go as detailed as you want, and in return this AI program will come out with every single thing that you ask for. And what's been happening is that more and more college students have been using it to write papers and submitting that, and now it's starting, the teachers are starting to catch on. And they're actually banning it in some places. They're not allowed, because, see, we love technology.
Right.
But we hate it when some people go to certain extents.
They go too far.
Too far and use it for the negative.
Yes.
But there are some teachers that actually like this AI new website app, because they say that if this is going to be the thing of the future moving forward, we as teachers need to be up on the game and really investigate this and understand how it's used. Because it's like when we first had email, we first had cell phones. We need to be up on the game. We need to know how to use it in order to move forward if this is the wave of the future. So there is a new version that recently came out. GPT was the original, now it's GPT4. And now they're saying that GPT4 can even beat humans at the SAT and bar exams. Can you believe that? It's pretty crazy. And came out 4 months ago that the GTE4 can score 90% on the bar exam.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
And the thing that's really, I mean, it's not, don't get afraid like, oh my God, because all you have to do is whoever submits the thesis has to do an oral panel. Done. You can let anybody write it, but if you can't back it up, you'll fail.
That's a great idea. I love that idea. I love it. I love it.
You heard it here first.
Yes. But there's another new feature that I'm liking about this thing. They're saying that you can take, it's called Analyze Photo. Okay. So what it is you can take a picture of things you have in your cupboard, like your pantry or your fridge, and it will take pictures and it will internalize it, and then it will come out with a recipe
that you can
that
use
you
the
can make.
ingredients.
Yes, that you can use those particular ingredients. Because I am awful at, if I have leftovers or a bit of this, a bit of that, I have no clue. I'm so uncreative. No clue how to do it. I am the
queen of that.
You are. You're like my mom.
I mean, and I'm sure it's because I was trained that way by my grandmother. Because as kids, we had that yesterday. So what she would do is she would take the same food and she would add different ingredients.
Yes.
And we had no idea.
That.
Yes. So offline, I know you don't want to.
All right, we don't need GTE4, GT4. We have Gloria here, right here, who can. I'll just mention to. I'll just contact her and say, hey, I have these.
This is what I have, and then I'll tell her this is what you can make with it.
Oh,
because for me, they also did an analysis of this software on Good Morning America, and they gave the criteria for Robin Roberts. And one of the things that they said is like she had won a medal in the Olympics, and Robin's like, no, I didn't. So it wasn't 100% foolproof. So you still have to do your due diligence. The thing for me, whenever in school, when I would just do the facts, I mean, my professor would be like, I don't feel you. I used to hate that. I don't feel you. And then when I would put myself in and I say, like I had to do, I took over a world religion class, and it was about feet binding in China.
Oh, yes.
And I did the report on it, but I didn't say anything. And then I went back in and I was like, this is disgusting. And the only reason they did it is because the men are afraid of the women outshining them in China. That's why they bound their feet and all that. And I got an A+. Wow. So, we have to make sure as human beings, because technology's good and AI, you have to watch AI. I saw the movie Terminator. I know what left unchecked can lead to. And it's not just the verbal written word, it's also the robotics that they're creating. We have to make sure that whoever's doing this has some compassion about them.
So the other thing that was talked about is, Snapchat has their own AI. It's my AI. Yes. And it doesn't discern whether the person is of legal age or not.
Right.
Because because you could ask as a teenager, like, how can I disguise something or other? How can I disguise being whatever it was they said about being something underage or something? Right. And it came out with the information that they wanted.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
You can wear glasses, you can change your makeup. I mean, there are things that you can do. It's just that shouldn't be readily available. That's something that the child should have to deal with his peers and his mom. Everybody, if you're being honest, you tried, whether you got in the club or not, you tried. Now, movie stars, they get in the clubs all the time. They are like 12, 13, 14. We all had to wait a little bit later in life. However, they have fake IDs, but some of the fake IDs are just really bad.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep an eye on this, because professors are not feeling it. They are like, they don't like it, most of them, because they think it takes the individuality out of the student. And that's what you're going to school for, is to learn your own unique way of doing things and your own unique ways to express things.
Yeah, but there is a good side as well. There are some good things that can come for it.
Yes.
But we'll just have to see how it progresses, and we'll do some more research, and we'll just keep following it and how it evolves. We'll see what happens.
Very true. So, I don't know about you. I'm just becoming a little concerned about getting on an airplane right now, because they're having too many possible close collisions.
Yes.
Last night we heard it's on the news this morning. One plane is taking off, is being told the other plane is also, for whatever reason, is on a runway. They think they're on different runways. They end up on the same one, and they start saying, hold up. There's been six
close
calls so far in 2023. That's something that they're going to have to take a closer look at. And Pete Buttigieg is the transportation officer or whatever you call his position, dude, you need to quit talking and start doing something. One of the videos that I watched blew my mind. There's a private jet, and then there's a big plane, like a United Southwest, a big plane, a commercial plane. That's the word I'm looking for. So they tell the commercial plane to take off. They tell the private plane to halt. The pilot on the private plane says confirm, holding, and then it takes off.
Why does it do that?
Because he's not paying attention. I don't know if he
said confirm holding.
He said confirm, but then he took off. Now, to me, when he got it, by the time he got in the air, I would have said, when you get to wherever he was going, your plane you have to stay on the ground. Because if you tell somebody you're going to hold and then you take off.
Yeah, that doesn't, what was he thinking?
It's almost like he said he confirmed it, but he forgot he confirmed it.
That's weird.
He didn't see anything, so he just took off.
He can't have short-term memory.
Well, you shouldn't have short-term memory as a pilot.
Right.
So we're going to continue to keep an eye on that, because that was kind of spooky, really spooky.
Yeah, that's really scary.
Yeah, 6 occurrences so far this year. And if the airlines, there are 2, once again, this goes back to something that President Biden has been touting since he became president, and that is transportation needs upgrading. And our planes, the technology, the fact that, with all of the weather that's going on, yesterday they had to cancel 1,200 flights. And even the ones that they let come in were rocking, and I would have been
rocking and rolling,
so afraid on the plane. I would have just, I would just been, oh my God, I need Dramamine, I need something, knock me out. It's just very scary times. And now we're also, every time we turn around, there's another train crash. So once again, it goes back to transportation. So Pete Buttigieg, you need to get busy, because your market is in chaos right now. And this is not a time to be nice and kind. You don't have to be mean. Just be firm and professional. We are all at risk.
Yeah, I agree.
All at risk.
Scary.
So there's a new term we want to share with you today. It's called dynamic pricing. And you go, dynamic pricing, what is that? Well, I'm going to tell you what that is. So dynamic pricing is the practice of varying the price for a product or service to reflect changing market conditions, in particular, the charging of a higher price at a time of greater demand. So say you own a golf course. Everybody knows that the primo tee times is early morning, because you don't want to be out there 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon in all that sun. You want to get up, you want to get on the greens like it's 6 o'clock in the morning. Not my thing, it's just what they like to do. So say for you to go and play a round of golf, hitting the greens at 6 a.m., if you just go anytime previous to this new little word that we're sharing with you, dynamic pricing, you may pay $125. Well, now if you want that same tee time, you could pay double or triple. Same thing. If you are doing a party, and we have so few bowling alleys in the Bay Area, most of them have been knocked down and condos are in their place. However, it used to be a cheap date.
Right.
When you wanted to do something with your kids, you could take your kids. They had like hot dogs and hamburgers and pizzas, and then, sodas. All you had to do is either bring your shoes, rent your shoes. They had all kinds of balls. You could, pick the one that's best for your kid. Might cost you $100. A mom just recently found out, because she threw a party for her kids. She was expecting, she's like, okay, it's normally $100, maybe $150. It cost her $500 for one lane, and she wanted to have 2. Because you want the kids to sort of like be in competition where they see each other and they go, I got you, because you want it to be fun. So this means you're going to have to really keep a good eye on what's going on in the market. So it's also known as surge pricing, demand pricing, or time-based pricing. This is a strategy where businesses adjust the prices of their offerings to account for changing demand. For instance, an airline will shift seat prices based on seat type. So this is not just bowling alleys and
Golf
golf courses.
courses.
This is the planes. This is movie theater.
Movie
They're
theaters,
gonna now,
AMC.
yeah, they're the middle section, and not the base, but up when you go up the steps, that middle core. They say those are the best seats because you're in the middle of the surround system. You're gonna pay $2 more per seat. Used to be you could go to, our favorite day was $5 Tuesday. Those days are gone because now what they're doing is they don't start the movies. We used to be able to go to the movies at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
Because I like to see the movie. I try not to go to the movies during the day because kids are in there and they're screaming. Moms bring the babies. I'm like, what did they say? What did he say? You can't hear. So I like to be first movie time of the day.
Yeah.
Those used to be $5.
Yeah.
Not no more.
They were cheaper, right? If you went the
Yes.
first movie of the day.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of things are changing. However, we always tell you, you don't listen to us that much. We're going to continue to tell you, if you all would just stop, they would drop the prices and they would go back to a more normal amount.
If we stop going to the theaters.
Yes.
Or we go just at the cheaper times,
Yeah.
right?
We
Just
only
find
go
out
when it's cheap.
When it's cheap.
Yes. Exactly.
Which is not cheap anymore, but
Yeah.
cheaper is relative.
Well, it went from $5 to $10.
Yes, right.
However, if we just only fill the theaters when it's the best pricing, then they would figure, okay, we need to readjust our
And
pricing.
I don't see why AMC is doing like section pricing because
Yes.
you have to reserve those seats anyway. So it's not like, it's ridiculous. I just think it's so ridiculous.
I agree wholeheartedly. So, 'tis the season for, the 2024 nominees are coming out, representing the Republican side of the House. We don't know yet. We think he's hinting that President Biden's going to run for another term. We don't know. A lot of people are concerned about his age. People like what he's doing. It's just that there are some more things that need to be done. I've heard people say even if he does run, he needs a new VP because she's not very visible,
Actually, you're right. Coming to think of it, we don't really hear much about her.
No.
What is she doing? What has she done?
Like when President Obama was president and Vice President Biden,
Yes.
we saw equally.
Yes, we saw Biden a lot more than we're seeing Kamala.
And if you remember when his inaugural address, he talked about we have the problem with the borders and Vice President Harris is going to take that on. And we have and Vice President Harris is going to take that on. And if she's taking things on and she's doing something which we can't see, she needs to talk because people just
we
don't
need
see
some
her.
update on the things that Biden has actually allocated her to do.
Yeah, so that we will know. Now on the other side, we've got Donald Trump came out first. Then we've got Nikki Haley. Mike Pence just did an announcement this weekend. Ron DeSantis, Tim Scott, Ted Cruz.
Oh, no.
Yes, just to name a few. So I think the most important thing for people to know is that we have to vote. If you are tired of all this stupid chaos in our government, we can vote them out. They can talk a big show. They can say things or, President Trump is in trouble for saying that Dominican voting machines were tabulating and doing all this, and Fox News got all into it. So that company is suing Fox for it's either 1.2 or 1.5 billion dollars with a B. People are going to learn that you can't just be, don't nobody care how many likes you have. I don't want my government on social media. If I had anything to do with it, they would have no Twitter accounts. They would have nothing because it's better for us if they tell us what's going on than trying to sensationalize it. So we'll think, oh my God, look at what they're doing. Right. No. And every day I think more of becoming an independent because I've always been an independent. I mean, I will register Democrat or Republican depending on who I like, the work that's being done. I vote for who I believe is the best for my community. Right. And I was thinking, if we could ever get a good independent candidate, somebody that both sides loved, the Democrats and the Republicans would be in trouble, because we want something that's different.
I think I was independent, me and my husband.
Yeah.
And for the last election, when it was time for the votes,
Right.
way back when Trump was running,
Right.
the first time we switched.
Yeah. And one of the things I remember when I first registered, you got it all.
Right.
You got all the information about the Republican side and the Democratic side. Now on the ballot, you only get to see the party you're affiliated with.
Exactly.
So if you go independent, I'm wondering, do you get it all? Because that's what I want. I want to see, because I voted for Republicans. I mean, I was born and raised in a Republican state. There was no discussion of Democrats. So I know it exists.
Right. So we'll have to know. We'll have to find out. Actually.
And if you know.
Yes. Or if you're an independent, let us know. Because we'd like to know as well if you get to see everything.
Yes. Climate. What can we say?
You can't now, come on now. You're living in this country, you know that there's something wrong.
Yes.
And don't say it's not global warming, because this has been sent years and years in the making.
Or people who are of the age, if they are like 80 to 100 years old, and they're saying, I've never seen weather like this. Here in California, in order for us to go to Nevada, I mean, our kids like to go skiing and snowboarding and having fun. There are these freeways, and they always put salt and sand on the roads to make sure that there's a grip. Let me tell you, they have been plowing those roads to keep them open, and now the sides of the roads, the snow is 10 to 20 feet high on both sides. And it's not falling over because it's so cold.
Yes.
Eventually, and this is my concern, when it starts to warm, where's all that going to go? Because that snow is going to turn into water, and that water is going to flow.
Exactly.
So, you know, yesterday, not just last week, yesterday we had high winds. We had winds between, you know, I think the lowest I heard was around 24 miles per hour. Santa Cruz was 80 miles per hour.
I heard there was some counties that were 90 miles per hour.
It was just, I mean, my house shook like an earthquake. I was like, quake? And I was like, no, it's the wind.
I was driving and my car was moving.
Yes, I was trying to stay in the lanes, and it kept swishing me around.
Yes.
So don't believe what somebody is telling you is just weather. Please, we all have an instinctive gut. That's like when somebody tells you that, you know, that the sun is turning green, and you look up and the sun is gold like it's always been. Your gut says, oh, you're lying, you cuckoo for cuckoo puffs. You have to start bringing that intuition back.
And we've been going through all this, right?
Yes.
How can we, as human beings, start today?
Yes.
Because it's never too late. We have to start, because it's the challenge here is when people don't believe it and they don't ever want to start.
And they think, I've heard people say, well, it's worked for the last 80 years. Why change it now? We have to change
Why change it now? Because for the past 80 years, we've been going in the direction that we've been going, and this is what it's become now.
Yes.
That's why we need to start changing, because you're not going to have a different outcome with the same things you've been doing decade after decade. You've got to change what you've been doing. And we've been talking in our past, if you've been following us, on things you can do to reduce your carbon footprint, things you can do to lower the emission in this world, so that we can stop having these global warming, like a greenhouse effect.
Yes.
And we got to start somewhere. And I really believe in my heart that we need to have programs that the government need to come out with.
Yes.
And I think that we need to ding people that are not complying by these programs. We need to find them in some way or another. We need to do something so that they can realize how serious this is.
And they will realize, okay, if I want to continue to act bad, I'm going to be broke, because I'm not talking about $5 fines. I want them to be held responsible for what they're doing, because when you know better, the goal is to attempt to do better.
And the first thing we can all do, because I know in California we're very big on recycling.
Yes.
But there are other states that I know, I'm not going to name them, that don't even recycle. They're still using those polystyrene takeout boxes.
Yes.
So first thing you can do, whether your particular city or state doesn't do it, maybe you could start by recycling.
Yes.
Number one is recycling.
Yes.
And making sure that you're composting, recycling. Yes. Composting is getting quite big in California now.
Yeah.
There's still a long way to go because a lot of cities don't have compost bins.
Right.
But Campbell, where I'm from, has compost bins now,
yes.
and I'm loving it. So recycle, number one, and then number two is composting.
Yes. And then Ginger Z on Good Morning America was talking about other things that you can do. Do you know that there are soap bar shampoo?
Yes, yes, you can get soap bar shampoos, and I actually heard about that from a company in the shopping mall. I'm sure you've heard, it's called Lush.
Yes.
There's a company called Lush in the shopping malls, and they actually have that, and there you can actually Google it online. There are companies that actually do that, and then there's also what is it, when you're washing up your clothes, there's actually, instead of putting the washing up liquid, there's like a sheet.
Yeah, and it does the same thing. It turns into soap. And I'll see if I can find the link, and if so, we'll
I'm going to look for that because shampoo.
Ginger did the whole thing.
And I want to see exactly what ingredients are in there, how like, I'm sure they're great for the environment.
Yeah,
so
but we're going to make sure they're great for the body.
Yes,
we're going to make a note. We're going to talk about it
I'm going to put it down right now.
Yeah.
Put it down to make sure that I do that and come up with some companies that might be good enough for us to actually go out and purchase, because whatever we can do, one small step at a time, right?
Yes.
Everything counts.
Absolutely. You know, today is the 3-year anniversary of when the states starting shutting down due to COVID-19. Wow. Now, it took us here in California until the 17th. This is the date, the first date when, states were like, okay, we don't know what this is.
When New York shut down.
Yeah, because New York had all of those people. I mean, people were just flooding in, and they were sick, and they couldn't keep up with the capacity, and they had tents, and they were like, okay, we don't know what this is, but it is spreading too fast. So they shut down on the 15th, and we shut down on the 17th.
It's crazy.
Do you remember where you were when you saw information, heard information? If you do, comment below and share.
I remember where I was. Well, actually, I went to a coffee house with my friend, and she was actually on her cell phone trying to buy masks, and we hadn't shut down yet.
Right.
And then we find out that this is now a pandemic.
Right.
So when that word came out, because we hadn't heard of it before, we're like, this is really serious. That's why she went to buy those masks online.
And initially you could buy masks. I mean, you could go to the hardware store, because painting, like whenever I paint, I always would have a mask.
Yes.
You couldn't find a mask to save your life.
And I had those really, like, those were the commercial ones for masks and stuff.
Yes.
And my husband had bought a pack of 10. So we were lucky we had it. And I remember going into Trader Joe's wearing it, and we were one of the very few people that started wearing it. And by the time we came out of Trader Joe's, got back to our car, we couldn't breathe. Couldn't breathe, and it was like lines all over our face.
Yes, I had grooves in my face.
Yes,
I mean, from the mask.
And I decided, me and my husband did our due diligence, looked online on YouTube to see how we can make our own masks that were more breathable, and I started making
mask.
Yeah, I started making it. I remember posting a picture. Hey, I made my own mask.
Yes, I'm doing my part.
I know. I can't believe it. Those were the days. Yes. And then I told my husband, you watch. It's going to come a day where every single person is going to be wearing a mask. It's going to be the thing of the norm. It's not going to be where we're going to be the few. And we even had gloves on.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody had gloves on in the supermarket, but we had the mask.
No, because I tried to clean the cart. I wore gloves, and when I came out, I would take those off and throw them in the receptacle and put on a new pair. I mean, I was wearing some gloves.
Oh, God. And the time frame where, remember, all the supermarkets and were saying, you got to line up.
That's
There's only
you had to get
number
in a line
of people
to get in the store. Luckily, my local store, they knew me, and I always timed it to where, I would be like one of the last persons let in, and then they'd lock the door. And that's a very uncommon feeling, because you're like, I can't get out. What if I need to get out?
Oh, I never heard that.
Yeah, no, because they locked the door because there were limits.
Well, I
They
remember
wouldn't let so many people
but
in.
I remember that they, in my, because I worked part-time at Whole Foods as a shopper, we wouldn't lock the doors. We would have people man the doors, and they would count how many people are in the store, and then and then after we got to the max, we would say you'd have to wait until people came out, and then we would let them in.
Yeah, we ended up having, how the doors spring open, they shut that down. That's
really?
what I mean. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Because people would be talking on their phone, not paying attention, and they would just walk in the store.
Oh wow.
People would walk in. I remember one time this guy is in the store, and he had a beard, and a goatee and a beard, and it was a different color than his hair. And he's at the register, and the girl looks at him, and she's like, where's your mask? And he goes, just, so he took it, he threw money at her and took what he wanted. He goes, you bring it up. And I thought, there were we got to see a lot of misbehaving.
Yes, we did.
Times are changing. A lot of people, myself included, I still like wearing a mask when I'm in a place with a lot of people I don't know, just because COVID was, I hear this flu that's going around is not pretty. So, people are out, like Whoopi Goldberg was out 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks.
Wow.
So I don't want to have any of that.
Yeah, we don't want that, but we were just reminiscing. This is the third year anniversary. Year. Wow, time flies. It's like a blur in the distance.
Absolutely. Well, as always, we thank you very much for continuing to come back and to join us. And, we feel the love in the room. We really do. And we're so grateful that you allow us to share our little opinions with you all.
Yeah, we really appreciate you coming on and checking us out. And if you are a supporter, thank you so much for supporting our little channel here. Yes. If you're new, welcome. And we want to remind you, if you liked our video, please hit the thumb icon and subscribe to our channel if you like what we offer you, so we can do more of this, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our videos. We love it. And we are Silicon Valley Girls Chat Over Tea. And remember to always keep smiling. Bye.